The grand hall of the Valtherian Palace stretched higher than any building Taman had ever seen on Earth. Crystal pillars rose toward a ceiling that seemed to touch the stars themselves. Thousands of aliens filled the space, their skin shimmering in shades of blue and silver under the floating lights. They all stared at him. Taman stood at the altar in his ceremonial robes, feeling very small and very human. His hands were sweating. In a few moments he would marry Princess Hana, third daughter of Emperor Daehyun, ruler of 300 star systems. 6 months ago, Taman had been fixing air conditioning units in Seoul. Now he was getting married to an alien princess he had met only twice before. The music changed. Everyone turned to face the entrance. Princess Hana walked down the aisle like she was born to command armies. She probably was. She stood 7 feet tall with skin that glowed like moonlight on water. Her eyes were the color of deep space, and her silver hair floated around her head as if underwater. She wore armor that looked like it was made from starlight itself. She was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Taman tried to smile when she reached the altar. Hana looked down at him with an expression he could not read. Was it pity? Disappointment? He was not sure. She was almost 2 feet taller than him. The height difference made several nobles in the crowd whisper behind their hands. The ceremony was conducted in Valtherian, which Taman barely understood despite weeks of language lessons. He repeated the words he had memorized. Hana spoke her vows without emotion, like she was reading a technical manual. When it was done, they pressed their foreheads together in the Valtherian way. Her skin felt cool against his. "Hello, husband," Hana said quietly in English. Her accent was strange but understandable. "Hello, wife," Taman replied. He meant it kindly, but she flinched slightly at the word. The reception was worse than the ceremony. Nobles approached them in groups, speaking in rapid Valtherian while staring at Taman like he was an exotic pet. Some were polite. Others were not even trying to hide their disgust. One lord, who Taman later learned was named Sunwoo, spoke directly to Hana while pretending Taman did not exist. "Your father dishonors the throne with this arrangement," Lord Sunwoo said in Valtherian. Taman understood just enough to catch the meaning. "Marrying you to this creature. Look at him. He cannot even manipulate energy. He is weak." Hana's eyes flashed with anger, but her voice stayed calm. "My father's decisions are not yours to question, Lord Sunwoo, and my husband is under my protection. Remember that." Lord Sunwoo smiled coldly and walked away. "I am sorry," Hana said to Taman in English. "Some of my people are difficult." "It is okay," Taman said, even though it was not okay at all. "I understand," but Hana shook her head. "No, you do not. You cannot. You are human. You do not know what it means to be Valtherian." Those words stung more than Lord Sunwoo's insults. Taman spent the rest of the reception standing quietly beside his wife, while she spoke with important people in languages he did not know. The weeks that followed were strange. Hana gave Taman his own quarters in the palace, connected to hers by a shared sitting room. She was polite but distant. They ate breakfast together in silence. She went to her duties during the day while Taman worked in the palace shipyards, where he had been assigned to the engineering team. The shipyard was enormous, filled with spacecraft that made Earth's rockets look like toys. Taman loved it. The other engineers were surprised that a human could understand their systems so quickly. Within days, he was solving problems that had stumped the team for weeks. The Valtherian workers began to respect him, even if the nobles did not. One afternoon, Taman was working on a cargo ship's power core when he heard screaming. A coupling had broken in the main reactor chamber. Coolant was spraying everywhere, and 3 workers were trapped inside. The room would flood with radiation in minutes. The safety team was too far away. Taman did not think. He just ran. He grabbed an emergency kit and sprinted into the reactor chamber. The heat was incredible. His skin felt like it was burning. The trapped workers were trying to reach the door, but debris blocked their path. Taman quickly analyzed the situation. The main coupling was cracked but could be temporarily sealed if he could reach it. "Get to the door," he shouted to the workers in broken Valtherian. "I will fix it." "You will die, human," one of them yelled back. "Maybe," Taman said, "but not today." He climbed up the reactor housing, his hands burning on the hot metal. The coupling was worse than he thought. He pulled out the emergency sealant and started spraying it into the crack. The pressure was enormous. The coupling could explode at any second. Taman worked faster than he had ever worked in his life. His fingers were shaking. Sweat poured down his face. Finally, the sealant held. The pressure dropped. He had bought them maybe 2 minutes. Go! Now, he screamed. The workers ran. Taman jumped down from the reactor housing and followed them. They burst through the door just as the emergency systems activated, sealing the chamber behind them. Everyone was coughing and gasping on the floor. Taman's hands were badly burned. His vision was blurry, but they were alive. That evening, Hana came to his quarters. She did not knock, just walked straight in. Her face was pale. I heard what you did, she said quietly. Taman was sitting on his bed, his hands wrapped in medical bandages. The workers are okay? Yes, because of you. Hana sat down beside him. For the first time since the wedding, she looked at him like he was a real person. The foreman said you ran into a reactor chamber that should have killed you. He said you saved 3 lives. Anyone would have done the same, Taman said. No, Hana said firmly. Most would not. Most of my people would have waited for the safety team. They would have let those workers die rather than risk themselves. She reached out slowly and touched his bandaged hand. You are braver than I thought, Taman. I was just scared, he admitted. Bravery is not the absence of fear, Hana said. It is acting despite fear. My father taught me that. She was quiet for a moment. I have been unfair to you. I have treated you as if you are weak because you are human. But weakness is not about strength or size. It is about courage. And you have more courage than many Valtherian warriors I know. Taman felt his face get hot. Thank you. Hana stood up. At the door she paused. Tomorrow have breakfast in the garden with me. Not in silence. I want to know about you. About Earth. About the man I married. I would like that, Taman said. After she left, Taman lay back on his bed and stared at the ceiling. His hands hurt. His whole body hurt. But for the first time since leaving Earth, he felt like maybe things would be okay. Maybe Hana could learn to see him as more than just a political arrangement. Outside his window, the stars of the Valtherian Empire stretched across the night sky. Somewhere out there was Earth, impossibly far away. Taman missed home. But as he drifted off to sleep, he thought about the way Hana had looked at him. Like he mattered, it was a start. 6 months had changed everything between them. Taman woke up to find Hana already awake, sitting by the window of their shared bedroom. They had started sleeping in the same room 3 months ago, after a particularly long conversation about Earth's history that lasted until dawn. Now it felt natural. You were talking in your sleep again, Hana said without turning around. In a language I do not recognize. Taman sat up and rubbed his eyes. The dreams had been getting stronger. Last night he had dreamed about Earth, but not the Earth he knew. He dreamed of ancient cities that never existed, of people who looked human but were not quite right, of voices calling to him in words he could not understand but somehow knew. Just weird dreams, he said. Nothing important. Hana finally looked at him. Even after 6 months, her beauty still took his breath away. But now he also saw the kindness in her eyes, the way she smiled when she thought he was being foolish, the fierce loyalty she showed when anyone insulted him. You have been having these dreams for 3 weeks now, she said. That is not nothing. Before Taman could respond, his communication device beeped. It was Jiwan, the commander of the Royal Guard and Hana's childhood friend. Princess, we have a situation. Lord Sunwoo has called an emergency council meeting. Your presence is required. Hana's expression darkened. I will be there in 10 minutes. Lord Sunwoo had been causing problems for months. He led a group of nobles who believed that Emperor Daihyun was too weak, that the empire needed stronger leadership. They pointed to Hana's marriage to a human as proof that the royal family had lost its way. I should come with you, Taman said. No, Hana said quickly. Sunwoo would use it as ammunition. Stay here. Stay safe. But Taman did not stay in their rooms. After Hana left, he went to the engineering bay. Work helped him stop thinking about the dreams, about the strange feeling that something inside him was waking up. His supervisor, an old Valtherian engineer named Bonwa, was working on a new ship design. Ah, Taman. Perfect timing. I need your eyes on this propulsion system. Something is wrong, but I cannot figure out what. Taman studied the blueprints. At first, nothing seemed wrong. But then he noticed something strange. His vision seemed sharper than usual. He could see tiny flaws in the design that should have been invisible to the naked eye. Small stress points in the structure, microscopic errors in the energy flow patterns. There, he said, pointing. And there. And there. The energy distribution is uneven. It will cause a cascade failure after about 1,000 flight hours. Bonwa stared at him. How can you see that? Those flaws are smaller than a grain of sand. Taman blinked. How had he seen that? He looked at his hands. They looked normal, but something felt different. Wrong. Or maybe right in a way he could not explain. That evening there was a diplomatic banquet. Taman hated these events, but Hana had insisted he attend this one. We must present a united front, she had said. Sunwoo is planning something. I can feel it. The banquet hall was filled with nobles and foreign diplomats. Taman wore formal earth clothing mixed with Valtherian styles. Hana had helped him choose the outfit. She looked stunning in her ceremonial armor, her silver hair braided with crystals that caught the light. They were standing near the main table when Taman felt it. A wrongness in the air. His skin prickled. His heart started racing. He looked around but saw nothing unusual. Hana, he whispered, something is wrong. She started to ask what he meant when the lights went out. In the darkness, Taman heard weapons being drawn. Hana immediately pulled him behind her hands beginning to glow with plasma energy. But the attackers were using cloaking technology. Taman could not see them, but he could feel them. 4 of them moving through the crowd like ghosts. One of them was coming straight for Hana's back. Taman did not think. He just moved. He grabbed Hana and pulled her sideways just as an energy blade sliced through the space where she had been standing. The blade missed her by inches. Behind you, Taman shouted. Hana spun and fired a blast of plasma energy, but the cloaked attacker dodged. The attacker came at them again. Taman could see him now somehow, even through the cloaking field. It was like looking through water. The attacker was raising his blade to strike. Terror filled Taman's chest. Not for himself, but for Hana. She could die. She could actually die. No, he screamed. Something inside Taman broke open. Or maybe it woke up. Power exploded out of him like a shockwave. Pure kinetic energy rippled through the air. The 4 cloaked attackers were thrown backwards like toys, smashing into the walls with bone-breaking force. The furniture flew across the room. The windows shattered. Then silence. The emergency lights came on. Everyone in the banquet hall was staring at Taman. He was standing in the center of a circle of destruction, his hands still raised, breathing hard. Hana was beside him, her eyes wide with shock. The attackers were unconscious against the walls. Their cloaking fields had failed, revealing them as hired assassins wearing unmarked armor. What? Hana whispered. What did you just do? Taman looked at his hands. They were glowing with a faint blue light. I do not know. Commander Jiwon rushed over with her guards. She stared at the destruction, then at Taman. Seize those men, she ordered, pointing at the attackers. Then to Taman. You need to come with me, now. The next few hours were a blur. Taman was taken to the Royal Medical Facility. Doctors scanned him with machines he did not understand. Emperor Daehyun himself came to observe. Hana refused to leave Taman's side, holding his hand the entire time. The scans show massive energy pathways throughout his body, one doctor said, showing holographic images to the Emperor. They were dormant before. Now they are active, growing stronger by the hour. What does that mean? Hana demanded. The doctor looked uncomfortable. We do not know, Princess. We have never seen anything like this. His biology is human, but these energy pathways are similar to Valtherian neural structures. It should not be possible. Emperor Daehyun studied Taman with calculating eyes. Keep this quiet. No one outside this room speaks of what happened tonight. Is that understood? Everyone nodded. Late that night, after all the tests were done, Hana took Taman to the palace observatory. It was the highest point in the palace, with windows that looked out at the stars. Taman found Earth's sun immediately. It was so far away, just another point of light in the endless dark. Are you afraid? Hana asked quietly. Taman thought about it. Yes, but not of what I can do. I am afraid of what it means. I am afraid of what people will think. What you will think. Hana took his face in her hands, making him look at her. I think you saved my life tonight. I think you are still the same man who ran into a reactor chamber to save strangers. I think whatever is happening to you does not change who you are inside. What if it does? Taman whispered. What if I become something else? Something dangerous? Then I will be there beside you, Hana said firmly. We are married, remember? For better or worse. I said those vows in Valtherian, but I meant them. Whatever you become, you will not face it alone. Taman pulled her close and held her. She was so strong, so sure of herself. He wished he had half her courage. I need to tell you something, Taman said. I have been having dreams. About Earth, but not the Earth I knew. About ancient things. About people calling me to wake up. It sounds crazy. Nothing sounds crazy after tonight, Hana said. Tomorrow we will start looking for answers. My father has archives that go back thousands of years. If there is any record of humans having abilities like yours, we will find it. But Taman was not sure he wanted to find answers, because deep down, in a place he did not want to examine too closely, the power had felt good. Natural. Like coming home after a long journey, and that scared him more than anything else. The old professor's office was buried deep in the palace archives, surrounded by shelves of ancient data crystals and dusty books that nobody had touched in centuries. Professor Minho looked up from his desk when Hana and Taman entered. He was elderly even by Valtherian standards. His silver skin faded to almost white, his eyes clouded with age. Princess Hana, he said, bowing his head. When your message said you needed to speak about human origins, I must admit I was surprised. This is not a popular topic at court. Why not? Taman asked. Professor Minho smiled sadly. Because the truth is uncomfortable. Please sit. This will take time to explain. Over the next hour, the professor told them a story that changed everything Taman thought he knew about humanity. Millions of years ago, before the Valtherian Empire existed, before most of the current galactic species had evolved, there was a race called the progenitors. They were the first intelligent species in the galaxy. They were masters of genetic engineering and energy manipulation. They created life on thousands of worlds, guiding evolution, experimenting with different forms and abilities. The progenitors wanted to create the perfect species, Professor Minho explained. Something that could adapt to any environment, that could evolve faster than natural selection allowed. They tried hundreds of different combinations. Most failed, but one experiment succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. Humans, Hana said quietly. Yes, but humans were too successful. The progenitors gave them the ability to tap into universal energy directly, to manipulate matter and space itself. Early humans were incredibly powerful. They spread across multiple star systems, building civilizations that made ours look primitive. And then they started to fight each other. Taman felt cold. What happened? War. Not just battles, but reality-breaking conflict that threatened to tear the galaxy apart. The progenitors realized their mistake. They had created beings with godlike power, but without the wisdom to use it responsibly. So they made a difficult choice. They took the surviving humans, locked away most of their genetic potential, and placed them on a single planet, Earth. They removed all memory of what humans had been. They made you start over, hoping that by the time your abilities awakened again, you would have evolved the wisdom to use them properly. That is impossible, Hana said. Genetic changes cannot be locked away like that. Professor Minho pulled up a hologram showing Taman's genetic structure. See these sequences here? They are not natural. They are engineered locks designed to keep human abilities dormant. The locks only open when certain conditions are met. Extended exposure to space, contact with other intelligent species, genetic mixing with non-terrestrial life. Each human who leaves Earth and integrates with galactic society triggers their own awakening. Taman stared at the hologram. How many? How many humans have awakened? We do not know. The Valtherian Empire has only contacted Earth in the last 5 years. Most humans stay on their homeworld, but our estimates suggest perhaps 50 to 100 humans are currently in space, scattered across different systems. If the professor's theory is correct, they are all beginning to awaken. Before Taman could process this information, his communication device buzzed. The message was encrypted from an unknown sender. When he opened it, he saw a simple text. You are not alone. We need to talk. Kyung. Who is Kyung? Hana asked, reading over his shoulder. I do not know, Taman said, but somehow the name felt familiar, like a half-remembered dream. That night, Taman met Kyung in a private docking bay. The man was Korean like Taman, perhaps in his mid-30s, with sharp eyes and movements that reminded Taman of Commander Jiwon. Trained. Careful. You felt the awakening 3 weeks ago, Kyung said without introduction. Same as the rest of us. I am here to explain what happens next. How did you find me? When we awaken, we can sense each other across vast distances. Right now, there are 47 of us in this galaxy. I have been awake for 2 years. I know what you are going through. Kyung explained that he worked as a security consultant for a mining corporation. When his powers awakened, he had accidentally destroyed an entire warehouse. He had gone into hiding, eventually finding other awakened humans through the same psychic sense that had led him to Taman. We have been meeting in secret, learning to control our abilities, but something is happening. The rate of awakening is increasing. 6 months ago, there were only 20 of us. Now there are 47. The locks are breaking down faster than the progenitors probably intended. What do we do? That is up to you. Some of us want to go back to Earth, hide what we can do. Others want to reveal ourselves, claim our place in the galaxy. A few even want to find where the progenitors went and get answers directly. I am not here to recruit you. I am here to tell you that you have choices, and that you have family out there, even if we are not related by blood. After Kyung left, Taman sat in the docking bay for a long time. 47 people like him. 47 humans discovering they were something more, something ancient and powerful and terrifying. The political situation deteriorated rapidly over the next week. Someone had leaked information about the assassination attempt and Taman's display of power. Lord Sunwoo used it to fuel fear. He gave speeches in the Planetary Senate about the human threat, about how the Empire had unknowingly brought a dangerous species into their midst. We cannot trust them, Sunwoo declared to a packed Senate chamber. They are not like us. They are weapons disguised as primitives. The progenitors locked them away for a reason. Emperor Daehyun tried to calm the situation, but even he could not stop the tide of fear. Nobles demanded that Taman be arrested and studied. Some called for Earth to be quarantined, preventing any more humans from leaving their planet. Taman started training with Hana in private, learning to control his abilities. He could move objects with his mind now. He could create shields of pure energy. When he concentrated, he could even sense the emotions of people around him. You are learning faster than anyone I have ever trained, Hana said after a particularly intense session. Taman had just lifted her entire training dummy across the room without touching it. It took me 10 years to achieve this level of control. It feels natural, Taman admitted. Like I always knew how to do this, but I forgot. Now I am just remembering. The training session was interrupted when Commander Jiwon burst in, her face pale. Princess, we have a situation. Lord Sunwoo has done something unthinkable. They rushed to the command center. The main view screen showed Emperor Daehyun in chains, surrounded by Sunwoo's private soldiers. Sunwoo himself stood before the throne, wearing ceremonial armor. People of the Valtherian Empire, Sunwoo announced to every screen in every system. Emperor Daehyun has failed us. He brought humans into our society without understanding the danger. He allowed his daughter to marry a creature that could destroy us all. As your new leader, my first act is to ensure our safety. I am dispatching the 4th Fleet to Earth. They will establish a quarantine zone. No human will leave that planet. Any human already in our space will be detained for the safety of all. Hana's hands were shaking with rage. He cannot do this. He has no authority. He has 6 legions loyal to him, Jiwon said grimly, and half the Senate supports his coup out of fear. Your father's supporters are being arrested as we speak. We need to run, Taman said. If we stay here, Sunwoo will use us to legitimize his power. He will probably execute us publicly. Hana looked torn. Run where? He controls most of the Empire now. To my people, Taman said. To the other awakened humans. And to Earth. If Sunwoo sends a fleet there, millions of innocent people will die. We have to warn them. That night, they fled the palace with Commander Jiwon and a handful of loyal guards. They took a fast ship from the royal docks and jumped to hyperspace, just as Sunwoo's forces surrounded the landing platforms. As the stars stretched into lines outside the viewports, Taman reached out with his newfound senses. He could feel them now. 47 points of light scattered across the darkness, 47 humans awakening to what they truly were. He sent out a message, not in words but in pure meaning. We need help. Earth is in danger. Across the galaxy, 47 humans heard him and answered, We are coming. Hana held his hand as they flew toward an uncertain future. No matter what happens, she said, I am with you. Taman squeezed her hand. For the first time since this all began, he felt hope. He was not alone. None of them were. And together maybe they could stop a war before it truly began. The safe house was on a mining colony at the edge of Valtherian space. It was not much, just a few rooms carved into an asteroid, but it kept them hidden. Taman stood at the small window, watching transport ships come and go from the mining platforms. Behind him, Hana was arguing with Commander Jiwon about their next move. "We cannot just hide here forever," Jiwon said, pacing back and forth. "Every day we wait, Sunwoo solidifies his power. Half the military has joined him. The other half is too scared to resist." "What do you suggest?" Hana asked tiredly. They had been having this same conversation for 3 days. "We have 12 loyal guards. Sunwoo has legions. We break your father out of prison," Jiwon said. "The legitimate emperor returns and the coup falls apart." Taman shook his head without turning from the window. "Sunwoo would expect that. The prison will be a trap." "Then what do we do, human?" Jiwon snapped. She had never liked Taman, even after he had saved Hana's life. "Wait until Sunwoo's fleet reaches Earth? Wait until he starts executing anyone who supported your marriage?" Before Taman could answer, his communication device buzzed. It was Kyung. "Turn on the public news feed now." Taman activated the holographic display. The news showed footage from Earth's orbit. 40 massive warships had just emerged from hyperspace, the Fourth Fleet. They formed a blockade around the planet, their weapons powered and ready. On screen, a Valtherian admiral was broadcasting a message to Earth's governments. "Attention, people of Earth. By order of Emperor Sunwoo, your planet is now under quarantine. No ships may leave. No communications will be permitted beyond your solar system. Any resistance will be met with overwhelming force. This is for the safety of the galactic community." Taman felt sick. Those were his people down there. His family. His friends. All trapped. "We need to go there," he said. "We need to stop this." "One ship against 40? Jiwon said. "That is suicide." Taman's device buzzed again. This time it was a group message from Kyung to all the awakened humans. "Emergency meeting. Coordinates attached. We need to talk about Earth." 2 days later, Taman stood in an abandoned space station orbiting a dead star. Around him were 46 other humans, all awakened, all desperate to help their homeworld. Kyung stood in the center of the group, his face grim. "Sunwoo's fleet has orders to fire on any ship that tries to leave Earth," Kyung explained. "They have already destroyed 3 cargo ships that attempted to run the blockade. 200 people died. The admiral claims they were carrying awakened humans trying to escape." A young woman named Yuna spoke up. She looked barely 20 years old. "So what do we do?" "We cannot let them hold Earth hostage. We fight," said an older man named Do-hyun. 47 of us against 40 ships. Our powers are growing stronger every day. "We could do it." "And kill how many Valtherians?" Hana said quietly. She had come with Taman along with Jiwon and their few loyal guards. "Those crews are just following orders. Most of them probably hate what they are doing." "Then they should refuse," Yuna said bitterly. Taman raised his hand for silence. Over the past week, the other awakened humans had begun to look to him for leadership, though he had never asked for it. Maybe it was because he had been the first to openly display his powers. Maybe it was because he was married to a Valtherian princess. Or maybe it was simply because someone had to step up and he was willing. "We do not start by fighting," Taman said. "We start by talking. We make Sunwoo's forces understand what they are really doing. We show them that we are not monsters to be feared." Talking did not work in the Senate, Kyung pointed out. "Fear is stronger than reason right now." "Then we make them feel something stronger than fear," Taman said. An idea was forming in his mind. Dangerous, possibly insane. But maybe their only chance? We make them feel the truth. Over the next few days, they prepared. Taman spent hours meditating, pushing his abilities further than he had ever tried before. He could sense emotions now across vast distances. He could project his own feelings into the minds of others. What if he could do that on a massive scale? What if all 47 of them could? Hana was terrified by the idea. "You are talking about psychically influencing thousands of people at once. It could kill you. It could kill all of you." "Maybe," Taman admitted. "But what is the alternative? Let Earth burn? Start a war that could kill millions?" On the 6th day, they received worse news. Sunwoo had discovered the location of Emperor Daehyun's prison and increased security. He was also planning a public trial, where he would formally charge the former emperor with treason for endangering the empire through contact with hostile species. We are running out of time, Jiwan said. Once Daehyun is executed, Sun Wu's rule becomes permanent. The military will have no choice but to accept him as emperor. That night, Hana found Taemin in the meditation chamber. He was floating in the center of the room, surrounded by a blue glow. Objects swirled around him in complex patterns. She had never seen him use this much power before. Taemin, she said softly. Come back. His eyes opened. The objects dropped to the floor. He landed lightly and swayed, exhausted. Hana caught him. I am scared, he admitted. Not of using my power. I am scared that when I use it, I will like it too much. I am scared of what I might become. You will become whatever you choose to become, Hana said firmly. You are the kindest man I have ever known. That will not change just because you have power. I will not let it change. They held each other in silence for a long time. The next morning, Sun Wu's forces found them. Someone had betrayed their location. Warships surrounded the abandoned station. Sun Wu himself appeared on their communication screen, smiling coldly. Princess Hana, human Taemin, you will surrender immediately and return to face justice. Justice, Hana said, her voice dripping with contempt. You imprisoned my father. You seized power through violence. You hold an entire planet hostage. Do not speak to me about justice. 1 hour, Sun Wu said. If you do not surrender, I will order my ships to destroy that station. And then I will order my fleet at Earth to demonstrate what happens when humans resist Valtherian authority. I will destroy one of their cities. I think I will start with the one called Seoul. That is where your husband is from, yes? The screen went dark. Taemin felt something break inside him. Not his control, not his sanity, but something deeper, a choice. Sun Wu wanted to destroy Seoul, his home, the city where his mother still lived, where his childhood friends were raising families, where millions of innocent people had never done anything except be born on the wrong planet. No, Taemin whispered. Then louder, no! Power exploded out of him. The walls of the station shook. The other awakened humans felt it. That rage and grief and desperate determination. They came running to the meditation chamber. Taemin, Kyung shouted. Control it! You will bring the station down. But Taemin was not losing control. He was finally taking control. He reached out with his mind, touching each of the 46 awakened humans. He showed them what he planned to do. The risk, the cost, the slim chance of success. One by one, they joined their power to his. 47 human minds linked together, creating something that had not existed in millions of years. A psychic network, a joined consciousness. Hana watched in awe as her husband rose into the air, surrounded by pure white light. Around him, the other humans formed a circle, their own powers flaring to life. The abandoned station began to glow like a small star. What are you doing? She whispered. Taemin looked at her with eyes that burned with ancient power. But his voice, when he spoke, was still gentle, still human, still the man she loved. I am going to show them the truth, he said. I am going to show them what they are really fighting. Not monsters, not weapons, just people who want to go home. Outside the station, on 40 warships surrounding them, thousands of Valtherian soldiers suddenly felt something they had never felt before. They felt what it was like to be human. They felt Earth's beauty and fragility. They felt the love of families torn apart by fear and politics. They felt what it meant to be hunted for something you could not control. And on 40 ships around Earth, thousands more felt the same thing. In the Imperial Palace, even Sun Wu felt it. And for the first time in his life, he felt doubt. The psychic wave lasted only 30 seconds, but it changed everything. On 47 warships, thousands of Valtherian soldiers stood frozen, tears streaming down their faces. They had felt what humans felt. They had seen what humans saw. Not through words or arguments, but through direct experience that bypassed all prejudice and fear. On the bridge of the flagship orbiting Earth, Admiral Wu Jin sat in his command chair, his hands shaking. He had been prepared to destroy Seoul on Sun Wu's orders. Now he could not imagine doing it. He had felt the love a human mother had for her son. He had felt the joy of a child playing in a park. He had felt what it meant to look up at the stars and dream of peace. Sir, his second officer said quietly. What are your orders? Admiral Wu Jin took a deep breath. Then he did something no admiral in Valtherian history had ever done. He disobeyed a direct command from the Emperor. Stand down all weapons, he said. Open a communication channel to Earth's governments. Tell them we are withdrawing from orbit. In the abandoned station, Taman collapsed. The other awakened humans caught him, lowering him gently to the floor. His nose was bleeding. His whole body was shaking. That psychic wave had pushed them all beyond their limits, but it had worked. Hana was at his side immediately. "You idiot!" "You beautiful, brave, stupid idiot," Taman smiled weakly. "Did it work?" "See for yourself," Kyung said, pointing at the view screen. The 40 warships that had been surrounding the station were not attacking. Their weapons were powered down. Several were actually moving away, their engines engaging to leave the sector. Jiwon received a communication. She listened for a moment, then turned to Hana with wide eyes. "The fleet at Earth is withdrawing, and there are reports of mutinies across Sunwoo's forces, soldiers refusing orders. Some are even demanding Daehyun's release. But their celebration was cut short." Sunwoo appeared on every communication screen in the sector. His face was red with rage. "You think your tricks will save you?" he screamed. "You think showing my soldiers your pathetic emotions will stop me? I still control the capital. I still hold your father, and I will not be denied." The screen changed to show Emperor Daehyun in chains, surrounded by guards. Sunwoo stood beside him, a plasma blade against the former emperor's throat. "Surrender now, or I execute him." "You have 10 minutes. Hana went pale. Taman tried to stand but fell. He had used too much power. His body could not handle anymore. The other awakened humans were in similar condition, exhausted and drained. "We need to go there," Hana said. "We need to stop him." "You will never reach the capital in time," Jiwon said. "Even with our fastest ship, it would take 3 hours." But Taman had an idea. He reached out with his weakened powers, searching across space for a very specific person. He found her on a ship halfway between their position and the capital. Commander Jiwon's daughter, Somin, who commanded her own unit of the Royal Guard. Taman sent her a message, not in words but in pure meaning and emotion. What Sunwoo was about to do, what they needed, how little time they had. Somin received the message and immediately changed course. Her ship was fast, designed for rapid response. She could reach the capital in 30 minutes. But even if she did, she would be outnumbered 10-1. Taman made a decision. He turned to the other awakened humans. "I need to ask you to do something dangerous. I need to link with you again, but differently this time. I need to use your power to project myself across space, to be in 2 places at once." "That is impossible," said Do-yoon. "No one can do that." "The progenitors could," Taman said. "I can feel it in their genetic memories. It is possible, but it might kill me. It might kill all of us." "Then we better not die," Yuna said, stepping forward. "Earth needs us. The Emperor needs us. Let us do this." One by one, the awakened humans formed a circle around Taman. They joined their powers together again, creating a network of energy that spanned light years. Taman used that network like a bridge, projecting his consciousness across space toward the capital. In the Imperial Palace, Sunwoo was growing impatient. 9 minutes, he announced to Daehyun. "Then you die." Daehyun looked at him with calm dignity. "Kill me if you must, but history will remember you as a tyrant who ruled through fear." "History is written by winners," Sunwoo said, raising his plasma blade. Then the air in the throne room began to shimmer. A figure materialized, translucent at first but growing more solid by the second. Taman stood there, his body glowing with blue light, his eyes blazing with power. "Step away from the Emperor," Taman said. His voice echoed strangely, like 47 voices speaking as one. Sunwoo stared in disbelief. "How are you here? You were light years away." "I am learning what humans can do," Taman said. "And I am learning that power is not about strength. It is about choice. You chose fear. You chose violence. I choose something different." Sunwoo screamed in rage and lunged at Daehyun with his blade. But Taman was faster. He created a temporal stasis field around everyone except himself. Time froze. Sunwoo was caught mid-lunge, his blade inches from Daehyun's throat. His guards were frozen mid-step. Only Taman could move. The effort was immense. Taman could feel his projection starting to collapse. He had maybe 60 seconds before his consciousness snapped back to his body light years away. He released Daehyun from the stasis field and quickly freed his chains. "Taman," Daehyun said, staring at him in awe. "What have you become?" "Still human," Taman said, even as his projection began to flicker. "Still your son-in-law, but I need you to reclaim your throne. Your people need you. At that moment, Commander Soman burst through the doors with her troops. She took in the scene at a glance and immediately moved to secure the frozen guards. "I cannot hold this much longer," Taman gasped. His projection was fading fast. "Take care of Hana. Tell her I love her." Then his projection vanished. Light years away in the abandoned station, Taman's eyes opened. He was lying on the floor, surrounded by the other awakened humans. They were all unconscious or barely conscious. What they had done should have been impossible. They had pushed beyond every limit, but it had worked. Over the next few days, the news spread across the empire. Emperor Daehyun had been freed. Sunwoo and his inner circle had been arrested and were awaiting trial. The soldiers who had followed Sunwoo out of fear were offered amnesty if they pledged loyalty to the legitimate emperor. Most accepted. The fleet around Earth withdrew completely. Admiral Woojin himself broadcast an apology to the human race for the blockade and the deaths of those who had tried to escape. Earth's governments were confused and terrified by everything that had happened. The awakened humans decided to return home, to explain to their planet what they had become and to help guide humanity's integration into galactic society. 2 weeks after the crisis ended, there was a ceremony in the Imperial Palace. Emperor Daehyun stood before his court, his daughter Hana beside him. "I am old," Daehyun announced, "and I have made mistakes. I did not see the fear that was growing in my people. I did not act quickly enough to stop Sunwoo's coup. It is time for new leadership. Leadership that understands both the old ways and the new future we face." He removed his crown and placed it on Hana's head. "I present to you Empress Hana, first of her name, bridge between species, guardian of the Galactic Accord." The court erupted in cheers. Even the nobles who had once mocked her marriage to Taman were applauding. The psychic wave had changed more than just soldiers. It had changed everyone who felt it. Hana gave her first speech as Empress. "My father's reign brought us prosperity and peace. But the galaxy is changing. New species are awakening to their potential. We can meet this change with fear and violence, or we can meet it with understanding and cooperation. I choose understanding. As my first act as Empress, I am establishing the Galactic Accord. Earth will join our empire not as a conquered world, but as an equal partner. Humans will have full rights and representation, and any species that wishes to join the accord in peace will be welcomed." The court approved the accord unanimously. No one wanted to risk another crisis like the one they had just survived. That evening, Hana found Taman in their private chambers. He was staring out at the stars again, as he often did. "Do you regret it?" Hana asked. "If you could go back and refuse the arranged marriage, would you?" Taman thought about everything that had happened. The fear, the pain, the discovery of powers he never knew he had, the friends he had made among the awakened humans, the love he had found with Hana. "No," he said honestly, "I would do it all again. Not for the power, not for saving the galaxy, but for you, because you taught me that being strong is not about how much you can destroy. It is about how much you are willing to protect." Hana kissed him softly. "You were never harmless, my love. You just had not awakened yet. But even now, with all your power, you are still the gentleman who ran into a reactor chamber to save strangers. That is what makes you strong." They stood together at the window watching the stars. Tomorrow they would travel to Earth for the formal signing of the Galactic Accord. Taman would see his family again. He would help the other awakened humans establish an academy to train those whose powers were still emerging. There would be challenges ahead. Some Valtherians would still fear humans. Some humans would resent the Valtherian Empire for the